My medical studies, I started volunteering in the psychiatric clinic. I went to study medicine because of reading Freud, and so I started working in psychiatry before I actually graduated. And my preceptor, who got this sample from Sandoz, was very interested in LSD, but didn't have enough time. So he used us to sit with people. So I was sitting with people actually since 1954, but initially they didn't allow students to have. They had to wait for my graduation, and one of the first things I did in '56 was actually to volunteer for an LSD session.
And how was that experience?
Well, it was something that changed my life professionally, personally. My preceptor, who was what we call a docent in Prague, with a degree under the professor, Lud Zantrovichec, he was very interested in electroencephalography. And at the time when the experiments were happening, he was particularly interested in a particular method which was called driving the brain waves, or entraining the brain waves, which was exposing people to a powerful stroboscopic light with different frequencies, and studying the electroencephalogram, whether the brain waves in the corresponding part of the brain, which would be the suboccipital for the optical stimulation, would pick up the frequency that you are feeding in, if you can drive them, train them, and so on. So one of the conditions for me to get LSD, I would agree to have the EEG before, during, and after, and also part of it was the experiment of being exposed to very powerful stroboscopic light. So I had a session, which was fascinating at the beginning. It was incredible display of colors, kaleidoscopic displays. It was like the world of Islam, the arabesques. I felt like was in Granada at one point, and so on. And then it opened up, and I explored some of my past, from my childhood, and so on. And so it was interesting in itself, but then came the experiment with the stroboscope that just took it to a completely different level. It was between the third and the fourth hour when the research assistant came, and it was time, to do the experiment. So she took me to the small cell. There was a couch. I lay down. She pasted the electrodes on my head, and then brought this giant strobe and asked me to close my eyes, and she sort of turned it on, and even with my eyes closed I saw light, intensity of brightness that I had never seen in my life, and I even couldn't imagine existed. It was like, when you read mystical literature and they talk about light that was like millions of suns, or I thought that it was like what it must have been like in Hiroshima. I mean, it was that intensity. And my consciousness was catapulted out of my body, and I lost connection with the research assistant, with the clinic, with Prague, with the planet. And I had this amazing experience of my consciousness just embracing everything, becoming everything there was. And then on, as I was coming down, I actually was in the physical universe, or actually became the physical universe somehow. I had the feeling I had been back to Big Bang, and there were experiences that I didn't have names for, but later when I read about the black holes, white holes, I mean, it was something in that category, pulsars, amazing cosmic experience. So I came down very, very impressed, and it just generated this lifetime interest in these non-ordinary states. So in the last over 50 years, I have really done very little professionally that wouldn't involve these non-ordinary states. This became my vocation, my profession, my passion.